Hi everybody, hopefully everybody can hear us. The guys who were on earlier said they could hear us fine, so hopefully everyone can now. If anybody's joined in the past couple of minutes and could give us a quick wave to say they can hear us, that would be fantastic. I don't think anything's changed over the last few minutes, but it's always worth checking. So you join us now in our lovely new offices. We moved last week. The heating doesn't work and the ceiling's leaking, but other than that, everything's fantastic and we've got a lot more space than we used to have. We also have a new telephone number, and we'll let everyone know what our new telephone number is shortly if you're accustomed to ringing the office. But I thought, without further ado, we've got a lot to go through today, so I thought we would dive straight in with the presentation. As usual, Dan's with me, and if you get any questions, queries, feedback, comments, etc., just ping them through to Dan in the usual way using the chat function, and we'll stop off and deal with them as those questions come through. So I am going to share my screen with everybody, and then everybody should be able to see today's presentation. If I click that, it'll work even better. Come on, computer. So hopefully everybody can see that now. Give me 1 second. This doesn't seem to be. Yep. So there we go. It'll work in a second, I'm sure. There we go. So today, at the request of one of our members, we're going to talk about social proof. And
okay, just sorry to interrupt there, Phil. We've got Chelsea saying that I can't hear anything.
Can everybody else hear us?
Yeah, is that the same for everybody else? Or okay, Dan can hear us, Kerry can hear us.
Dan, just send Chelsea a message and.
Right, okay. Nikki can now, so maybe that was just
right. Okay,
a bit of a glitch. But do tell us if the audio drops out, and we'll have a look at it.
Right, so I'm going to talk today about social proof. What is it? Why is it important? Look at some examples. There's some myths and misconceptions and mistakes that we've seen about social proof over the course of the past 2 years. Then something that we like to call the podium of proof, showing you the different levels of social proof that we would recommend. Top tips for collecting the social proof, where to use it, and some next steps for you, some takeaways as to things you can do right now. So social proof, what is it and why is it important? We tend to see social proof as using the thoughts and words of others to demonstrate the value you add. That's how we would define it. I rather like a lady called Aileen Lee's view of social proof, which is to think of it as building the foundation for massively scalable word of mouth. So if you put those two together, Aileen Lee's and ours definition, I think you come up with a definition of what social proof actually is. And there's generally considered to be 6 types of social proof. Expert, which would be an expert, a well-recognised person endorsing you. Celebrity, I think we all know what celebrity social proof is. That's why influencers, as they're called, get paid money to promote tweets, promote messages on social media, etc. That's changing now. They're being asked to make it clear when they're getting paid to promote something. And it's probably not particularly relevant to financial planners, although you might have a celebrity client that you could get to promote your work. User social proof, so that would be in the cases of financial planners and advisors, that will be their clients saying good things about them. Something called wisdom of the crowd, which would be large groups of people potentially liking things on social media. That the wisdom of the crowd is something that's happened over the course of the past 10 years as social media has taken hold. The wisdom of friends, people recommending your services to their friends, family, work colleagues, etc. And that's then linked to number 6, people like you, because people tend to refer their financial advisor or planner to people like them. So as I say, there's generally considered to be 6 types of social proof: expert, celebrity, user, wisdom of the crowd and friends, and people like you. And some examples then of social proof. Testimonials. Now this would come under the user, people like you, and an expert header. Now, in the past, financial advisors and planners have typically just put testimonials on their website. We still occasionally get a bit of pushback, even now, from the occasional client who says, actually, we don't want to put any social proof or any testimonials on our website. And we'll explain why they have that. They're making that mistake in a minute. But unattributable testimonials are often the extent to which many financial advisors and planners would go. Case studies. Case study is an example of user social proof, especially if they're written about genuine clients, ideally accompanied by an image. And of course, that also comes under the people like you heading, because someone would select to read the testimonial, which is about someone like them. If you were close to retirement and there was a case study on a financial advisor planner's website that talked about how they help someone close to retirement, then they're more likely to read that case study than something else. Client videos, we'll talk about in more detail in a bit, but hugely powerful. And that would come under the user, people like you, and expert heading potentially, especially if, and we'll see some examples later, that we've recorded some videos with Sam Sloman at Engage. And there is an accountant on there who would come under the expert heading, recommending Sam, which is really powerful. Reviews, that might be Google, vouched for, Facebook, etc. That would come under user because it's clients who are using it. But also crowd. The more of those things we can get, the better impression it creates. So, for example, vouched for shows the number of reviews, and I suspect someone is more likely, all other things being equal, someone is more likely to select a planner with 50 reviews than they are with 5. And as we've shown before in our research, most financial advisors and planners have got very, very few Google reviews. If you've got more than 10, you stand out. And we've talked before about the reasons to get more of those. Data from client surveys. Again, really useful social proof. And this is where we ask questions and use the data on websites. So, for example, would you recommend us on? Have you recommended us on? Do you feel that our advice has helped you achieve your financial goals, etc. This is all really useful at a relatively high level, really useful data stuff. If anybody who's old enough to remember the 8 out of 10 cats like whiskers, that's the kind of thing we're looking at. I suspect most people on this call won't remember that. If you can, put your hand up because you'll make me feel better. Likes and shares of social media posts. Again, that could be expert and also crowd. The more people who share your social media posts, share your content, the more validity it has. Clients comes under user and friends. Awards, expert, as does qualifications and accreditations. So there are, what have we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9 or 10 different types of social proof that you could be using on your website, using online, using in your offline marketing. And it'd be interesting for any feedback from anybody around what you currently collect. Do you collect this sort of stuff? Do you find it difficult to collect this sort of stuff? What issues and challenges are you having with regards to collection of social proof? Really like to hear from anybody that has had any difficulties or has had any pushback from people in their business. And that leads us through to some of the myths and misconceptions about social proof. And these are quotes that we've heard. I have a testimonial page, that's enough. Well, it's not really. Our evidence or our research shows that only 1 or 2 visitors out of every 100 to your website will look at your testimonials page. And if we think about how Facebook does this, and Facebook don't have a page of adverts which you can go and view should you wish to do so. They sprinkle the adverts in your news feed and through your pages, so you see them incidentally to your browsing. Because if they just had a page of adverts, nobody would go and look at it. Why would anybody go and look at necessarily a page of testimonials? So it's so important on a website to sprinkle the testimonials around. Dan, have we got something coming in?
Yeah, so we've got a comment from Dan. I think we do all of this, apart from client videos, which is planned. The most commented on by prospects seems to be testimonials and reviews on Google and Facebook. And Kerry comments, only thing we have had a problem with is some clients don't want to sign up to Google or Trustpilot because it means setting up an account. And in that case, we ask them to agree to send us an email that they can then add to the website.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kerry. Not everybody does want to set up a Google account. A lot of it depends on the relationship you have with the client as to whether you can get them to do that or not. But it's a fair point, and it is something that isn't always easy to overcome. And great to hear that there's some videos being produced as well. We'll look at some good examples of videos in a minute. So another myth or misconception or mistake. Clients aren't interested in helping. Well, some probably won't be, but most are. We find that the clients of financial advisors and planners are, in the main, really quite invested in their advisor or planner's business. They want it to succeed. Part of that is just because they don't want to have to move to another financial advisor or planner, and that the relationship's good. But part of it is because they're nice people, and they really want to help people succeed. If we take one of the videos that we did for Sam, and I can't remember if it made the final cut, but I set up camera, asked some questions, and we asked one of the people in the video, why did you choose Engage? And he went through some of the usual reasons, but he said he likes Sam and wants to be part of Sam's journey. And I thought that was fantastic. Clients generally really want to help. Some may not want their photo on the website, some may not want to appear in video, that's fine. But generally speaking, more will want to help than not. Dan, did I see something else coming?
Just another comment from Dan saying that in general, we collect feedback at the end of an initial piece of work. We then ask if we can summarise and add to the site, and most are happy to agree.
Yeah, that's great. And like that, back to the point I was saying, most are happy to help. And we'll talk a bit in a bit about how we can build processes to collect social proof to make it easier. Third one, people will think it's made up. And they might. Some people might, which is why it's so important that we do everything we can to demonstrate authenticity. Clearly, nobody would ever make up a testimonial to go on their website, and we would never recommend writing it on behalf of clients. It's too easy a cop-out, and you'll end up with identikit testimonials. So much better to get the clients to write a testimonial. Yes, by all means, give them some direction, and our template does that and explains a little bit about the things we'd like them to cover. For example, the reasons why they sought financial advice, the reasons why they chose this particular advisor or planner, and the outcomes. And ideally, we want 100 to 150 words, but never write it on their behalf. You'll end up with identikit testimonials. And to show that they demonstrate authenticity, there's a number of things you can do. Length is important. A testimonial that is anonymous and says, Dan was great, doesn't actually say anything, doesn't actually help anybody, and looks pretty inauthentic. So length is important. Making sure that the style is different, and you'll get that by getting the clients to write them themselves. Adding the client's name, a broad location, which obviously helps from an SEO perspective. Adding images, and we'll show some examples like that in a bit. If we can add client images to it, that will show even more authenticity. And then obviously that then leads into client videos. So the more we can do to make testimonials authentic, or to demonstrate authenticity, because they obviously are authentic, the better. Dan, did I say something else, Glenn?
Yeah, so we've got a comment from Kerry. We always respond to a review, and I always look at bad reviews to see how the company has responded. Did they try and rectify the problem? If so, how? Shows the company's customer care. And then she goes on to say, hey, the keyboard batteries have gone, so sorry about the spelling.
Fair enough.
So we assume that's what you said.
No problem. Yeah, you're right, Kate. I think responding to any reviews, and this is something that we're a bit lax on and I should get better on, but responding to any reviews, whether it's on Google, Facebook, vouched for, is really important. If you've got a positive message, then a thank you for the kind words, thank you for any referrals, that sort of stuff is really important. Clearly, if you ever get a negative review, then it's important that you handle that well, and with a suitable message and an effort to put it right. And if then you can persuade the client to, when you put it right, to go and leave an update, that would be really useful as well. It'd be interesting if anybody on the call has ever experienced a fake review on Google, Vouch4, Trustpilot, Facebook, etc. Because we had a fake review on Google a few weeks ago, and it really, really bothered me. We'd worked hard to build up our Google profile, and it really bothered me. And after a few attempts, we got Google to take it down. There's a blog on our website which talks about it. But we got Google to take it down. I was quite pleased with that. Chelsea, did you say you've had a fake review? Did you manage to get it down? Dan, what's Chelsea?
So Chelsea said yes. Nikki, yes, we have, and it bothered them too, and rightly so. Kerry says not fake, but the customer didn't tell the whole story. Dan has seen fake positive reviews on some local advisor sites. And then Chelsea, going back to her fake review, we haven't yet, but they're in the process of trying to.
Okay, Chelsea, if you do need any help with that, getting that fake one down, give me a shout. Dan, I'd be interested to know how you know those reviews are fake positive reviews. Really interested to know that. But yeah, it wasn't easy. But people don't necessarily realise you can actually talk to Google, and you can send live chat messages through your Google My Business listing. And you can send emails, and all I did was ended up cutting and pasting their terms and conditions and annotating notes as to why this review broke those terms and conditions, and it worked. Don't know how hard it is on Trustpilot and Facebook, etc. But it is so important to manage your online reputation. Next mistake or myth: I don't want to bother my clients. Well, see above. Often we find that they are interested in appearing on videos, etc., on providing testimonials. Often only too willing to help. The video shoot we did for Sam, 4 clients came to King's Cross into a nice serviced office to be filmed, and we've got another session with another firm in Essex in a few weeks' time, where the clients are, I think there's 6, coming to a hotel/restaurant to be videoed. So clients, and no incentives were offered, other than the fact that the planner was extremely grateful. So if you don't know, you won't. If you don't ask, you won't know. And we tend to find that planners are surprised by the number of clients who are willing to appear on videos. So for us, effective social proof needs, and forgive me for being blunt, but needs open minds. Occasionally we'll sit in a meeting where every time we suggest one of the things on this list, arms get folded and there's a grumpy no coming back. But it does work, this social proof stuff. There is evidence to show that it works. There is research to show that it works, and anecdotally, we know from clients that it works as well. And it's massively important that we build up the social proof both online and offline. Dan, is there anything else coming through?
So Kerry, speaking about getting things updated or taken down. Mm-hmm. So I spoke to Bing about our listing via chat. We're surprised it takes so long to show an update on Bing.
Wow. I suppose if you look at your Google Analytics, it would show you how much traffic you're getting through from Bing, and I would doubt it's massive. Someone once told me that the most popular search on Bing was for Google. So it might not cause you too much of a problem, but it's still quite annoying. And yes, any delay when there's a fake review up is going to be frustrating. And then what's the one before that? I know an advisor is a member of a local group and he's posted reviews as the group when there's no way you could have given that group advice. Interesting. Yeah, and again, that will be frustrating as well. But even more of an incentive to build up your own social proof. So something that we call the podium of proof, and we often get asked by clients what social proof they should generate. So in the bronze step, we would have anonymous testimonials on a single website page. I suppose at a push it's better than nothing, but is really, it's a bit 2010. There are significant problems with it. Very few people will read the testimonials. There's problems with authenticity, and you're really not taking advantage of, or the people who do this are really not taking advantage of the ability to generate social proof from their clients. All client surveys that we ever run show satisfaction levels well above 90%, as measured by desire to refer on, whether the advice has helped them to achieve their financial goals. So clients are happy. We need to do what we can to communicate that happiness to prospects. So on Silver Step, attributable testimonials, ideally showing an image, the name and the location. And also, this is important, I missed it earlier, if we can, and even we don't get it right every time, but if we can, the date when that person became a client. So if Dan Campbell has said something nice about his financial planner, and there are 3 or 4 lines that talks about why Dan chose that planner, the problems he had, the outcomes, etc. There's a nice picture of Dan, and with Dan's name, the location, doesn't need to be any more in-depth than Derby or Nottingham, and the date they became a client. So client since January 2015. That starts to show longevity, especially if you've got clients who have been with you for many years. And because we tend to ask, historically there's been a natural inclination to ask for testimonials when you've done a new piece of business, but then not go back to ask for more testimonials. And the proof of the value you add increases over time. The benefits of financial planning increase over time. Therefore, if we can show on the testimonial how long somebody's been a client, that has to be a positive thing. And then images, as we'll see later, can be images that have been taken professionally, or ask the client to send in images, as again we'll show in a bit. And then on the gold step, by far the winner is our client videos. Getting clients to appear on videos, and I'd be interested to hear from anybody who has. Have we got anybody on the call who has got client videos on their website? Be really interested to hear if anybody who has. But client videos are certainly on the gold step. Short videos, maybe 2 minutes in length, talking about why they chose the financial planner, the benefits of financial planning, how happy they are, what it's helped them achieve, what problems it's helped them solve, etc., etc. And in Sam's case, we finished with a question, and I think the question was 3 words or phrases to describe Engage. And then we've chopped those down into a showroom, and you can see them on the Engage website, which I'll show in a second. And that's worked really well as well. And of course, the words from those testimonials can be, the words from those client videos can also be used in other things. They can be chunked down into testimonials. The videos can be transcribed, so we're getting really nice keywords on the website. There's all sorts of things you can do with client videos once you've got that raw material. Dan, is there any way?
Yeah, so Kerry asks a great question about Trustpilot. So Trustpilot recently contacted us about paying for a badge for our website. It was a lot of money and not sure it would make much of an impact. Has anyone paid this with Trustpilot, and has it made a difference? Okay,
I've never seen that case, so I'd be really interested to understand what the cost was and what you got for it. I suspect it was something similar. We generally recommend, as I think we'll see in a bit, that you ask clients for, our preferred 2 platforms generally are Google and Vouched for collecting client reviews. Google, because they sit on the Google search results page for your brand, and therefore will impress people who are searching for your business online, and they're a ranking factor as well. And then Vouched for, because of their ability to potentially recruit a few clients through Vouched for, but also the reputational tools they offer, the stuff they've done, for example, in the Times last weekend, which is great, and the fact that they verified the reviews. Whereas I'm not convinced things such as Facebook, Trustpilot, Google go to such extent to verify reviews. So our view would be start with Google and Vouched for, but potentially Facebook. And I think Vouched for is, from memory, £45 a month, and that gives you some of the reputational tools. It gives you a widget that you can put onto your website that reveals your ratings and reviews in a pop-up. Sounds as though what Trustpilot were going to do.
So Kerry's given us some more info. Needless to say, they didn't go for it. It allows you to invite clients to review and allows you to have the stars on your website. The cost was over £1,500 with a discount. And at the moment, they send handwritten cards asking for reviews.
Yeah, £1,500 sounds a lot of money. Kerry, it'd be interesting to know why you went for Trustpilot as opposed to, say, Voucher4 for collecting your reviews. But £1,500 sounds a lot of money, where Voucher4 is £45 a month plus the VAT. But may well generate some inquiries for you. You may well get inquiries through Voucher4 in a similar way you might do to Unbiased. So I would, clearly if you've got your reviews on Trustpilot, you want to show them off in the best possible way. But it just goes, really gives us more evidence as to why we're recommending Voucher4. So we talk about the podium approved bronze, silver, gold. All of those should be supported by reviews, and we just said our preference is Google, Voucher4 and Facebook. Client survey data. Often we generally recommend client-wide surveys periodically. Depends what the intervals are between those periods depend on the business, but it produces really useful data. We've just done one for a firm where we got over 200 responses, both combining paper responses and email responses. And the data that we've had out of that is really, really useful. It's helped to support a decision to move to electronic newsletters. We've had some really good data around client recommendations. It's shown us that we've got some more work to do to get more recommendations. Some great data around client satisfaction and some fantastic testimonials. It's worked really well. And occasionally, advisor planners might feel a bit nervous about doing a client survey. I've also heard, and again, I'd be interested to hear whether anybody on this call has had pushback from their compliance department to say, you will not do client surveys because you might get complaints. Never heard anything so daft. If a client is thinking something negative, you want to know about it so you can put it right. Why wouldn't you want to know about it? I just don't see the logic. So client surveys are really important. And Kerry, you just said our network sends out reviews, the surveys. Yeah, some networks will do. The questions are often though when networks send them out. Tick box exercise satisfies TCF or perceived TCF requirements, or to be able to prove things in the event of a complaint. Rarely have I seen a compliance department produce a good quality client survey. Other things to support: awards, if you wish to enter, and qualifications and accreditations. Again, more social proof that's all good social proof. Qualifications and accreditations demonstrate expertise, as do awards. So, some top tips for collecting social proof. The first one is to approach it with an open mind. You're never going to build significant social proof without that open mind. And it isn't easy. You may have people in your business who say, no, I don't want to do client surveys, I don't want to do X, Y, Z, clients won't want to do it, etc. Well, in reality, they will. So the first thing we need to do is open our minds to asking, to the possibilities of what can be produced. It's all about authenticity and detail. This goes back to what I've said in terms of testimonials. Dan saying, my financial advisor is great, is not particularly useful. But Dan saying, I had all these pensions, I wasn't sure what they were worth, I was really confused about my retirement, whether I could afford to retire, and my financial planner has now sorted that for me, and actually I can retire early. That sort of stuff is far more powerful. And so that will be a good example of detail. Authenticity, then back that up. Name, location, nice smiling image of Dan looking forward to his retirement. He's not retiring anytime soon, by the way. You're not. So name, location, nice image, client since, all that sort of stuff is useful. And focus on outcomes as well. One of the misconceptions that we didn't put on the slide, but maybe should have done, is that people are worried about asking their clients because their client won't want to reveal how much money they've got in their pensions, how many assets they've got, etc. But they don't have to. It's not relevant. We don't need to say Dan had £500,000 spread across 3 pensions. And we just don't need to say that. We need to talk about challenges and aspirations and outcomes, not amounts of money. It's just not relevant. You also clearly need to decide what is possible and what's possible given the budget and resources. You shouldn't have a limitless budget for your marketing. And you will have a certain budget and a certain amount of resources. So you need to decide what's possible for that. We generally recommend an initial project to knock your social proof into shape. And that might be client survey, videos, polishing up your testimonials, getting some images of clients, etc. But an initial project to collect social proof, followed by ongoing collection. Now, the ongoing collection should involve putting processes in place to ask clients for reviews. So we often suggest that when you're onboarding a new client, you might want to ask them for a vouched for review, and at the next periodic review meeting, ask them for a Google review. And that should, if you put it in as a process and get the advisor or planner to tee it up at the end of a meeting verbally, but support that with an email. You can use our free resources and templates to do it, but support it with an email. Don't just ask verbally and expect clients to do it. It needs to be supported by something in writing, ideally an email, because it will sit in their inbox. They won't want to delete it because they're nice people and want to help you. And it should sit there until they hopefully do it. Dan, anything else that's coming?
So Jackie and Frank have asked what questions we'd suggest for a client survey and if we've got an example.
Yeah, we will. We've got some examples, and we've got your email addresses, Jackie and Frank. Jackie and Frank, we've got your email address. If anybody else wants those questions, then let us know. Just send a quick message to Dan. Dan will make a note, and we'll send those out separately. We tend to use SurveyMonkey to send these surveys, by the way. So back to the top tips. Initial project followed by ongoing collection. Then multi-advisor planner firms need buy-in from the team. If you've only got a couple of decision makers within the business, it's relatively straightforward to get everyone to agree. But if you've got multi-advisors or firms with many advisors, it's not always easy to get everyone to buy in. And you'll have a group that are really up for it and want to buy in. And you've got to lead with them. And then when the others who are less convinced see the benefits, hopefully they will be dragged along as well. But we have seen issues in multi-advisor firms where some advisors have just been very anti-collection of social proof. We recommend connecting with clients on social media as well. And one of the questions we ask in our client surveys is, how often do you use social media, Mr. Clients, or Mr. or Mrs. Clients, and which platforms do you use? And that will help you decide where you should spend most of your time socially, at least for work perspective. And we tend to find the older the client bank, the more likely it is to be Facebook. The younger the client bank, the more likely it is to be something like Instagram. And that allows you, by connecting with clients on social media, hopefully they will share your content, share your tweets, your Facebook posts, your blogs, etc. And they're going to be sharing it with people like them. And the more people you can connect with on social, the better. On Facebook, for example, the more likes you get, the more options it opens up for creating lookalike audiences, more options it opens up for your adverts, etc. So connecting the clients on social media is really important. And Dan, anything for you?
So we've had a question from Dan. What do you think about connecting with clients personally on Facebook?
Depends what's on your personal profile, Dan, on Facebook. And I think you often see corporate social media accounts on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and they're often very inactive, always on broadcast mode. So if you scroll down the timeline, all you're seeing is stuff going out. There's no interaction. If you then compare that with the advisor or planner's personal accounts, you'll often see a lot more interaction. So I think you would get more value from talking about work, what you do day to day, through your personal account. If you look at my personal Twitter account, it's clearly me at Yardstick. Yeah, I'll talk about other stuff as well. And I've won clients on the back of conversations that started about something that completely different to marketing or financial services. But people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And you start, if that starts on a person, if you're starting that relationship on a personal basis, when someone's starting to get to like you and get to know you, then that's going to be more powerful and lead to more potential client interactions than from a corporate account. So if possible, I still have the corporate account, but I would be using your personal accounts to promote your business as well, and to promote your expertise as well, if you are happy to do so. I know some planners who don't want to, and would rather split things down. So they'll often have two personal accounts, one which they're happy to talk about work on, and one which is locked down and that they only reserve for friends, family, and their varying political opinions. Does that help? I hope that helps, Dan. Any more questions?
Okay, we've got one from Frank. So Frank's got LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter at the moment, and asks if it's worth having an Instagram account.
Right, that entirely depends on who your target market is. Until you know who your target market is, you won't know and create detailed client personas for your target market. Until you know that, you won't know which social media platforms are right to hang out on. Think about it like a traditional networking event. If you were targeting octogenarians for estate planning and IHT advice, you wouldn't go to a BNI breakfast networking event at 7 a.m. in the morning, generally speaking. You would try and get to speak at the Women's Institute, University of the Third Age, these sorts of organisations. And it's exactly the same online. You need to hang out online on a social media platform that your target market is hanging out on. So if your target market is a younger generations, first-time buyer mortgages, that sort of stuff, then Instagram might work brilliantly. If your target market is people in their 60s, at or close to retirement, Facebook would probably work better. So it's all about matching your target market to your social media channel. Hopefully that helps, Frank. So back to my top tips. We always say this, requests from clients should initially be made verbally and then followed up by email. Our free resources are there for you to use and abuse as you wish. And you can never have enough social proof. I don't think I've seen a website where there's been too much social proof on there. I really don't think you can ever have enough of clients who have experienced the benefits of financial planning telling other people about it. So where to use it? And this is where we're going to look at some examples, I think. Websites. So let's have a look at some examples of websites with good social proof. They're not all ours either. So this is the First Wealth website. Many of you will have seen it. And if we click here, Anthony and his team have produced a variety of different client videos. So this is a good example of expert social proof. There is one of the teams from First Wealth talking to Seb Coe. And I'm sure that's not top right-hand corner of the website by accident. And Seb Coe, a well-known figure. We have another member of the team here, Rob, talking at Humans Under Management. Again, expert social proof. And then we go down here and we have some wonderful client videos. Where's my favourite? I think this one's my favourite. And this is fantastic. You can see here that they've explained who Pete is. And I won't play the whole video. You go on and look into your heart's content later. But the videos are beautifully produced and are fantastic examples of social proof. And First Wealth are a fantastic example of a firm doing this really, really well. Engage are the videos that we produced. And if anybody's got any other examples that they want to show us and share with the group, then that would be fantastic. So here we have clients who have said nice things. Here is the show reel that we created, 3 words to sum up Engage. And you've got the videos here with nice little quotes alongside. And all we did with these, I sat off camera, sat chatting, asking a few questions. We left the camera running. And then they were edited down into reasonably short videos of a couple of minutes. But again, another really good example. So by all means, go and have a look at that one. So 2 examples of client videos. I've got another one here actually on the Swindells website, and their videos are under client stories. And again, really nice videos in different locations. These were filmed in the client's home.
On the subject of videos, Kerry asks whether the videos should have subtitles.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, Kerry, especially for social media, as you say. And not everybody is going to want to. First thing I do is wouldn't have autoplay on videos. It just annoys people. The second thing I would have is, yeah, I think subtitles are becoming more important. We've not actually done it yet, but it's becoming more important. It allows people to watch them in their office, should they wish to, without disturbing everybody, or to train or whatever it may be. So I think that's important, and clearly if someone is hard of hearing, that would help us as well. I would also think about adding transcripts of the videos to the website. So for example, I think we did it here on the Swindells website. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
there we go, we added a transcript there. And that gets the keywords in. So Google likes to see video on websites. So that's a tick in the box, we've got the video. Google likes keywords and content, so we transcribe the videos, and I've got that in there as well. And it's relatively straightforward and quick to do. So yeah, I would add subtitles, transcripts, etc.
Kerry also asks another interesting question: landscape or portrait, i.e., so you don't have to flip your phone when viewing them.
It's a good point, and I don't. I think most people, I might be wrong here, but I'm used to flipping my phone around when I'm watching a video onto landscape. But it's a good point. We were working with a client this morning who does videos themselves, handheld on their phone, and they produce really good videos. But all of them were landscape until we got one through that was portrait.
Yeah, I suppose with the size of mobile phones now, sometimes a vertical oriented video is pretty wide as it is.
Yeah, my phone's about as big as your laptop.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily a problem. I think consistency is important there, Kelly. What have you got coming in from Frank?
Okay, so Frank asked a question about a newsletter on the front of his website. It's a PDF which they pay for. After reading your blog, you say it's better to put the content on the webpage, but he's not sure if he can use the content that he buys.
Okay, so completely off piece, but that's fine. Frank, that's cool. Yeah, so PDF, big no-nos for like I said on the website. You're missing loads of opportunities there, and sending a PDF by email is a big no-no as well. You would have to understand what your terms of the license are for the content. I know, for example, if someone buys our newsletter package and they want to use the content, I don't know, in an advert in a parish magazine, or they want to use the content for something else, we would absolutely let them do that for no additional cost. As far as I'm concerned, they bought that content and it's for them to use how they wish. So by all means, Frank, if you want to have a chat to us about the reasons not to use PDF and our newsletter package, give us a call. But in terms of whether Goldmine would let you use that content and cut and paste it into your website, you need to have a chat with them. So there were some examples of client videos. Wanted to show some examples of Images of clients on websites. So this is Darren Cook's website at Red Circle. We launched this about 8 weeks ago. It's a site we're particularly proud of. And what we did here was get his clients to give relatively lengthy testimonials, of which there is a snippet here. Again, best practice, Chris and Linda, Leicestershire, client since. And we asked them to send in pictures of them enjoying life. And you can see they're not perfect. So they're not the perfect stock image. This one's, it's not the greatest resolution in the world, but it's about the only time we're happy with people on the beach on a website. And when you click through,
yeah, they're very real, aren't they?
they are. They're very real. They're very authentic. And there's more about Monique and Lawrence sat on the beach. And the idea was that there was a little postcard sign, and that was a postcard from them to Darren saying thanks. And clients were only too happy to do this sort of stuff. And this is something we're using more and more with clients because it's a very cost-effective way of getting authenticity on here. James Harvey, financial planner based in London, and James he invited his clients into the office for a photo shoot, and we click on one of them and there's Ramsey and Vivian saying some nice things about him. But again, you can see in the back we've got images, they're all there at the same time to have their pictures taken. And again, really, really nice. It's authentic. It shows that the client is so happy with their financial planner. They're happy to have their pictures on a website and have their details on a website. So a few examples there, and I'm sure you've got other examples as well of where adding, bear with me, adding images, adding videos to your website will benefit the social proof. Give me a second to pull this back up. We're close to the end now, so I'm just going to leave it like this. Your office, again, is a really useful place to be building social proof. And you've got a couple of audiences in the office. More and more financial planners are seeing clients in the office. So let them see social proof. Put it in your reception area. I've sat in so many reception areas of financial planners where they've got magazines of New Model Advisor, Money Marketing, FT Advisor. These are fine publications. I read them all, but they're not consumer publications. Why would you put those in your reception area and let your clients, your prospects, read about other financial advisors, read about the difficulties in our profession, etc.? It's just madness. So have your client videos running in reception. Have a little tablet with testimonials scrolling across it. Have clippings of your newsletter, your press cuttings, etc. But have stuff that proves you're good at what you do in reception, not copies of Money Marketing or FT Advisor.
Unless you're on the cover.
Well, that's a fair point, actually, yeah. If you're on the cover, then that's a little bit different. Good point. If you're on the cover of New Model Advisor, then stick it on. Otherwise, don't. But it's not just your potential clients or existing clients. Your team are a potential audience in your office for social proof. Social proof is so useful for providing validation to people within your business that you're doing a really good job on behalf of your clients and that your clients value it. So just remember the office and remember those different audiences. Social media, huge place to use social proof. You've got to be a little bit careful. You don't want to be seen to be bragging. But again, if you can create nice slides out of your testimonials, promote your client videos, etc., on social media, that's really beneficial as well. Newsletters, a lot of the newsletters, the electronic newsletters we produce, have testimonials in them, and we'll change those testimonials on a regular basis. They might have links to client videos in there, where we've done client videos, that sort of stuff, so that the client is not only getting value from the newsletter and the blog content you add in there, but they're seeing that social proof as well. And something we've talked about on previous meetings and previous webinars is the proof and proposition documents. The proof being the social proof that you've collected, and giving those to clients to hand out to other friends and family who may want to be a client, far better than using a business card, and having a separate document, professional connections, accountants and solicitors, which they can pass on to their clients rather than passing a business card on as well. And I'm sure I've missed ways off, but there are so many ways of using the social proof that you collect. and you can get as creative as you want, really. So as we draw to a close here, and then I've got a question back for the group at the end of this as well. Start by reviewing your current social proof. Is what you've got cutting it, or are there more things you could be doing? And look at that with a critical eye as well. If all you've got is a page on your website of testimonials, then you probably could be doing more. Make some decisions about, of the list of things we've suggested that you could do, make some decisions about what you might be prepared to do in an initial project and what you might be prepared to do ongoing. And those decisions will be based on your resources, the time you have, and the budget that you've got. If anybody wants our help with that, we're very happy to do that. Then engage with clients. Start asking them about what they're prepared to do. Start sounding them out. Suggest to them, we're thinking of doing videos, would you be prepared to help? And that starts with creating a short list of potential clients that reflect the type of client that you want, and approaching them and just sounding them out. Then make the changes, implement that initial project, and then put in place an ongoing process for collecting social proof. Whether it's vouched for, Google, Facebook reviews, asking for testimonials, whatever it is, put a process in place so that the onus doesn't always fall on the advisor or planner to actually be doing the work. It should be process driven if at all possible and just happen. That's the ideal. So hopefully that has helped in terms of social proof. Before I get to my question for you guys, I'd like to know if we've got any more questions, any feedback, any thoughts before I ask my question. Have we got anything more done?
Nothing so far, no.
Okay. So one of the questions I've got back from everybody here, I'd like to ask everybody here, is what topics that you want us to cover over the coming months. I'd really like to hear from you what you want us to be covering. This was produced in response to one of our members asking for something. So I'd really like to know what you would like us to be covering. Is it directories? Is it unbiased, vouched for, advisor book? Is it more about newsletters, about content? What do you want us to be talking about? What would you value on these sessions? And if I can get a bit of input from you guys, either now, by email, put it on the Facebook group, whatever you prefer. But I would like to try and tailor these sessions to what you actually want, rather than necessarily what we think you need, because you all know your business is better than me. So if you could do that, that would be great. Dan, what have we got coming through?
Okay, we've got a message from Dan, who's leaving the webinar inspired. After this, we're going to do a client survey, ask for images for existing testimonials, update the process for future testimonials, and plan some client videos. And as for subjects, advertising on social media, and then producing videos. And Kerry, content and blogs.
Cool. Yeah, we've been running lots and lots of adverts on Facebook, Google, LinkedIn for clients. Not tried Twitter yet. So very happy to do that. And we've got data to evidence how that might work. So really happy to do that. Google Ads, Kerry, we'd pull that into that same blog. And very happy to do one of these sessions on writing content, blogging, etc. That probably flows through into newsletters. Dan, I'm pleased to hear that you're inspired. What I'd love to see is before and after shots of your website. So take some screenshots of what it's like now. Take some screenshots of what it's like after it's changed. Love to see how your website and the other ways you use social proof changes because of that. Right. Anything else, or shall we finish 7 minutes early? If nobody's got anything else, we'll finish 7 minutes early and give you all time to make a cup of tea and carry on with your day. Hopefully that's been useful. Thanks for the interaction, guys. It's so much better when we get feedback from you and makes our lives so much easier. So thanks for that, and look forward to talking to you next month. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.